If you find yourself overthinking every small shift in his tone, or secretly checking if he's seen your message, do you actually know why you do it? Most people call it being clingy, insecure, or too sensitive. But behind that hyper-awareness, there's something much deeper that most people miss. It's one of the most emotionally loaded, subtle experiences a woman can go through. And if you keep dismissing it as just being anxious, which most women do, you might miss what your heart and your mind are actually trying to tell you about your boundaries, your safe spaces, and who really holds power over your peace. Let's talk about what emotional attachment is really about. 1. The debunk. You remember the smallest, most unremarkable details. Have you ever casually brought up a preference he mentioned 3 months ago, like how he takes his coffee, or a story about his childhood pet, only to get a surprise? How on earth do you remember that? Most people think this is just having a good memory, or simply being an attentive, polite listener. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain doesn't waste precious mental energy storing trivial information about people who don't matter to you. When a woman begins to form an emotional attachment, her neural pathways quietly shift. Your mind starts cataloging his preferences, habits, and stories, not to impress him, but to build an internal blueprint of who he is. It's your subconscious mind's way of creating safety. The more you know about someone, the safer they feel to your nervous system. Think about that for a second. This isn't about being overly analytical. It's an instinctual way of anchoring someone into your world. But it also carries a subtle hidden risk. When you hold that much detail about someone else, you can easily end up holding space for them while forgetting to leave room for yourself. So, if your brain is constantly archiving his small details, pay attention. It's the first quiet signal that he's taking up real estate in your heart. 2. The science. Your peace is tied to his emotional baseline. Do you ever walk into a room, catch a slight drop in his voice or a beat of silence in his text, and instantly feel a knot in your stomach? The common assumption is that you're just being overly dramatic or looking for problems where none exist. Here's what's actually happening. In psychology, this is closely linked to oxyregulation and attachment theory. Studies in neuroscience show that when we become emotionally attached to someone, our nervous system begins to synchronize with theirs. Research on adult attachment demonstrates that our brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, becomes deeply attuned to the emotional state of our attachment figure. When he is distant, cold, or stressed, your nervous system interprets that shift as a potential threat to the connection. You aren't being irrational. Your body is literally processing his mood shifts as a blip in your own safety network. The emotional stakes here are high. If his bad mood feels like your personal emergency, your attachment is no longer just a feeling, it's actively driving your physical nervous system. And while this empathy is a beautiful human trait, it often reveals where your own emotional boundaries are starting to blur. 3. The conditioning. You instinctively protect his image to others. When he disappoints you or drops the ball, do you find yourself automatically making excuses for him when talking to your friends or family? He's just really stressed with work right now, or he didn't mean it like that. Most people assume you're just being loyal or giving him the benefit of the doubt. Here's what's actually happening. From a very young age, women are socially conditioned to be the emotional caretakers of relationships. We are taught to smooth over friction, manage the emotional climate of the room, and absorb discomfort so others don't have to. You weren't born with an instinct to defend someone who hurts you. You were taught that preserving the peace and protecting the relationship is your primary responsibility. When you filter his mistakes to protect how others view him, you are quietly taking on the burden of his emotional maturity. It shows that your attachment has reached a point where you'd rather carry the confusion yourself than risk seeing the connection fractured. It's time to ask yourself, are you loving him for who he is, or are you protecting the version of him you hope he becomes? 4. The deep root. You micro-shift your future plans around him. Have you noticed how you've stopped making weekend plans too far in advance, just in case he asks to hang out? Or maybe you've begun mentally factoring him into decisions about months down the road, without even realizing you did it. The easy explanation is simply that you're keeping your options open because you like spending time with him. Here's what's actually happening. This subtle shifting of your time and availability stems from an ancient survival mechanism rooted in early relational conditioning. When we attach, our mind naturally begins to weave the other person into our future timeline to ensure proximity and continuity. The girl inside you who once feared being left out or abandoned is trying to secure her spot in his life by remaining endlessly available. Your brain is trying to protect you from the pain of a missed connection. It's an instinct born from a desire for stability. But when you pause your life to fit into the margins of someone else's schedule, you slowly communicate to yourself that his time is more valuable than yours. Your future belongs to you first. Never hold your life on pause for someone who hasn't explicitly asked to share it. 5. The selective pattern. Your guard drops, but only around him. Think about how you move through the world on a normal day. You're likely composed, self-reliant, maybe even a bit guarded with strangers or acquaintances. But around him, you suddenly let your silly, unedited, or fragile side show. You might think, I'm just comfortable. Here's what's actually happening. Emotional attachment is selective. You don't drop your armor for just anyone. Your intuition is actively running background checks on everyone you meet, and when you become attached to someone specific, your psychological defenses quietly lower their guard. This selective vulnerability reveals that your mind has marked him as a safe harbor. It proves that your ability to discern safety is working. You aren't foolishly trusting everyone. You are intentionally letting down your walls for him. Recognizing this selective pattern helps you realize that your vulnerability isn't a weakness or an accident. It's a conscious gift you choose to give. The key is ensuring that the person receiving that gift recognizes just how rare and sacred it actually is. 6. The silent energy. You experience the post-hangout hangover. After spending time with him, do you ever leave feeling strangely exhausted or deeply reflective, replaying moments of the interaction in your head on the drive home? The common assumption is that you're just tired from socializing or being introverted. Here's what's actually happening. When true emotional attachment is forming, especially if there is any underlying ambiguity or uncertainty in the relationship, your brain spends the entire interaction working on high alert. You are continuously processing nonverbal cues, microexpressions, and subtle shifts in tone. This emotional hangover isn't physical fatigue, it's cognitive and emotional processing load. It means your mind was working overtime to stay connected while simultaneously guarding your heart. It reveals how deeply invested you are in the health of the connection. If being around someone leaves you constantly drained, your attachment might be growing in an environment of uncertainty rather than ease. 7. The reframe. You care less about imprinting him and more about knowing him. At the start of any dynamic, it's normal to worry about what to wear, what to say, and how to look impressive. But suddenly, you realize you care far less about performing for him and far more about understanding his real, messy truth and sharing yours. Most people call this simply getting comfortable. Here's what's actually happening. This is the ultimate shift from superficial attraction to genuine emotional attachment. You move away from seeking validation, does he like me, and step into true relational curiosity. Who is he really, and do I feel safe here? This is where attachment transforms into authentic connection. It reveals that you are no longer interested in playing a role to keep someone around. You are honoring your own emotional maturity by seeking a real, unvarnished connection built on mutual truth, rather than flawless performance. Emotional attachment is not a flaw, nor is it a sign of weakness. It is a profound human response, a reflection of your innate capacity to care, to connect, and to let someone into your world. When you notice these silent signs in yourself, don't judge them, don't hide from them. Simply observe them with curiosity and kindness. Ask yourself, if the place you are placing your heart is a place where it is held with equal care, gentleness, and respect. You deserve a connection that feels as safe, secure, and grounded in reality as the love you so generously give away.